रघुनाथान्वितं त्वं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्यदेवम् श्रीराधा कृष्ण
You want to play them? Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesa Sunyavadi Pasya Yachitaine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nagadaya. Nikataya Advaita Shri Bhaktivedanta Manor. Toshi Ajigodachan Ratna Simbasane. Arati Karen Brahma Hadi Devadane. Nara Hari Hari Kari Kamaradulaya. Sanjaya Mukunda Vasuri Koshadikaya. Sankavaji Gantavaji Madhavadi Madhyavaji. Sankavaji Gantavaji Madhavadi Madhyavaji. Sankavaji Gantavaji Madhavadi Madhyavaji. Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. Bahu Koti Chandradini Vadana Ujvala. Hala Jai Shivana Mala Kori Chala Mala. Shiva Sukhanarada Premikada Dada. Bhakti Vinoda Deki Kodara Samhara. Himajayo Naya Gora Chande Aratika Shambha. Nana Vidanta Vani Jagamana Lava. Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Bolo Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda, Shri Radhe. Jaya Sita Ram, Lakshman Hanuman, Jaya Sita Ram, Lakshman Hanuman. Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur Brahmanandi, Shishivada Gokulananda ki, Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki, Gauranitai ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.
So after each press, everyone say Jai, and you can pay your obeisances if you can. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Pairajikacharya A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Pairajikacharya Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki. Ananti Koti Vaishnavinda ki. Namacharya Haridas Thakur ki. Prem se Gaur Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasari Gaur Bhaktavinda ki. Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki. Maipur Vrindavan Dham ki. Nilachala Jagannath Puri Dham ki. Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi ki, Ganga Devi Yamuna Devi ki, Harinam Sankirtan ki, Samaved Bhaktivedanta ki, Nitai Gaur Premanandi, all glorious humble devotees, all glorious humble devotees, all glorious humble devotees, all glorious Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Everyone can sit down for 5 minutes. We're going to pray to Nrsimha for protection. Pictures there on the left you can see. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Pralada Lada Daine. Hiranyakashi Purvakshaha. Shilatankana Kalahe. Ito Nasingo Parato Nasingo. Yato Yato Yamita Tona Singo. Ahir Nasingo Hidaye Nasingo. Nasingamadim Saranam Prapade. Tavakara Kamalavare Nakama Bhuta Singam Dalita Hiranya Kashipo Tanu Bringam Kesavadita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Nrsimhadev, Nrsimhadev, Jaya Nrsimhadev. Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Nrsimha Bhagwan ki jai, Prahlad Maharaj ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai. So before you go to Somaha, you can take San Amrita.
Peki mi? Don't worry.
No problem.
Hold it tight. Hold it tight. Come this.
Vaishnava Seva, Namaruchi and Jivadoya.
Say again.
Vaishnava, serving Vaishnavas, chanting holy name, and helping the fallen souls. So if you do these things, then your spiritual path becomes clear. This is Bhaktivedanta Manor.
It's very difficult, not very
So this is why you're on devotees. If you're on devotees, the spiritual protection is there. And then if you can help someone, that's a
Every
plus.
weekend here. That's it. Every weekend. Now in 2 weeks time I'm going back to Krishna.
Yeah, we've got Bhagavad Gita class. No, you just sit down. Yeah, we'll just be discussing it, yeah. So there's, there should be, okay. Yeah, you just sit down, please, yeah, you can stay, and, yeah, that's fine. No, not at all, no. Every evening at this time there's Bhagavad Gita class. Apart from Fridays and Sundays, we have Kirtan, Monday to Thursday and Saturday. Bhagavad Gita class, you're always welcome to join. You don't have to sign up for anything, just come along and sit down. Yeah. Till around 8:30. Yeah. But you can leave before then if you need to go. It's fine. Very free and easy. Hare Krishna. So we'll have Bhagavad Gita class now in the temple room. So please stay around if you can. Okay. So we'll start with the Jaya Radha Madhava prayers. If you know them, you can repeat after me. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So I'm just going to close the doors here.
You can close the door. I'm going to close it from this side. You can put the lock on it.
So, we're reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, text 10. There should be some So in my copy it's page 519. I'm not sure if it's the same one as all of you have got, but it's chapter 10, text 10. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Okay, so first we'll recite the Sanskrit. So we'll do it call and response. So I'll say one line and then you repeat. And then I'll say each line like that. Okay. Tesham satata yuktanam.
Tesasam satatam yuktanam.
Tesham satata yuktanam.
Tesasam satatam yuktanam.
Bhajatam pritipurvakam.
Bhajatam pritipurvakam.
Bhajatam pritipurvakam.
Bhajatam pritipurvakam.
Tadami buddhi yogam tam.
Tatami buddhi yogam tam.
Tadami buddhi yogam tam.
Tatami buddhi yogam tam.
Yena mamupayanti te.
Yena mam upayanti te.
Yena mamupayanti te.
Yena mam upayanti te.
Tesham satata yuktanam.
Tesam sa satatam yuktanam.
Bhajatam pritipurvakam.
Bhajatam pritipurvakam.
Tadami buddhi yogam tam.
Tatami buddhi yogam tam.
Yena mamupayanti te.
Yena mam upayanti te.
Would anyone like to have a go at reciting?
Tesam satatam yuktanam.
Tesham satata yuktanam.
Bhajatam pritipurvakam.
Bhajatam pritipurvakam.
Tatami buddhi yogam tam.
Tadami buddhi yogam tam.
Yena mam upayanti te.
Yena mamupayanti te. Tesham satata yuktanam. Bhajatam pritipurvakam. Tadami buddhi yogam tam. Yena mamupayanti te. Anyone else? No? Okay, that's fine. Okay, so word for word. Tesham,
Tesham
unto them.
unto them.
Satata yuktanam,
Satatam yuktanam.
always engaged.
Always engaged.
Bhajatam,
Bhajatam
in rendering devotional service.
in rendering devotional service.
Pritipurvakam,
Pritipurvakam
in loving ecstasy.
loving ecstasy.
Tadami, I give.
I give
Buddhi yogam,
buddhi yogam,
real intelligence.
real intelligence.
Tam,
Tam
that.
that
Yena, by which.
by which
Mam,
mam
unto me.
unto me.
Upayanti,
Upayanti
come.
come.
Te,
Te
they. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Okay, translation. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. Please repeat after me. To those
to those
who are constantly devoted
who are constantly
to serving me with love,
to serving me with love,
I give the understanding by which they can come to me.
I give the understanding by which they can come to me.
Purport. In this verse, the word buddhi yogam is very significant. We may remember that in the second chapter, the Lord, instructing Arjuna, said that he had spoken to him of many things and that he would instruct him in the way of buddhi yoga. Now, buddhi yoga is explained. Buddhi yoga itself is action in Krishna consciousness. That is the highest intelligence. Buddhi means intelligence, and yoga means mystic activities or mystic elevation. When one tries to go back home, back to Godhead, and takes fully to Krishna consciousness in devotional service, his action is called buddhi yoga. In other words, buddhi yoga is the process by which one gets out of the entanglement of this material world. The ultimate goal of progress is Krishna. People do not know this. Therefore, the association of devotees and a bona fide spiritual master are important. one should know that the goal is Krishna, and when the goal is assigned, then the path is slowly but progressively traversed, and the ultimate goal is achieved. When a person knows the goal of life but is addicted to the fruits of activities, he is acting in karma yoga. When he knows that the goal is Krishna but he takes pleasure in mental speculations to understand Krishna, he is acting in jnana yoga. And when he knows the goal and seeks Krishna completely in Krishna consciousness and devotional service, he is acting in bhakti yoga or buddhi yoga, which is the complete yoga. The complete yoga is the highest perfectional stage of life. A person may have a bona fide spiritual master and may be attached to a spiritual organization, but still, if he is not intelligent enough to make progress, then Krishna from within gives him instructions so that he may ultimately come to him without difficulty. The qualification is that a person always engage himself in Krishna consciousness and with love and devotion render all kinds of services. He should perform some sort of work for Krishna, and that work should be with love. If a devotee is not intelligent enough to make progress on the path of self-realization, but is sincere and devoted to the activities of devotional service, the Lord gives him a chance to make progress and ultimately to attain him. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuro Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shivasha Kanvatamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabando Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschita Desatarine. Okay, I'll just read the translation again. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. So I was thinking today, actually, we could just do a little discussion. We haven't had so much time to prepare, but I thought maybe we can just all contribute and we can kind of in that way churn some nectar. So, okay, maybe I start. So what I'll do is I'll just read one line and then I'll say my understanding, or I'll ask one of you to give your understanding of what's being said, and then maybe we can reflect back each other's realizations, and in that way we can, bring out some nectar, some more realizations. Okay. So, to those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. So my understanding of this translation is that if somebody is always engaged in devotional service, so they're very dedicated to serving Krishna with love and devotion, Krishna actually helps them. And he gives them some realization. Because of their sincerity, he says, okay, I'll give you some realization, some understanding. I mean, I understand Krishna to be saying that he gives realization, he gives knowledge. And it's knowledge that's actually they can use to be able to come closer to the Lord and to be able to progress spiritually. So, does anyone have anything they want to reflect back, or any did they have the same understanding or a different understanding of the translation? Can you speak? Maybe can you pass the microphone? Sorry, just... It's also for people online because they can't hear if it's not in them.
To me, it's sort of like it's saying that he's showing the path to get to him, and it's giving you the knowledge and the gyan to get there, sort of thing, and giving you the perseverance and the resilience to deal with the obstacles that come in the way, type of thing.
That's really nice. So you're saying that... So I think you're bringing out the second part of the translation, like I give, what is Krishna giving us? How is he helping us? And you're saying he's giving us actually the qualities even that we need to be able to make progress. You said like perseverance and resilience, these kinds of things which are really important on the spiritual path. If we don't have these, we just kind of give up. And so, yeah, but they don't come from nowhere. Actually, it's, Yeah, so you're saying it's like stepping stones. Spiritual life is like a stepping stone. Everything that you do, every aspect of your spiritual life can help you to come to the right conclusions. Thank you.
Also, in the Bhagavad Gita, somewhere, I'm not very sure, but Krishna says, I gave you the remembrance, the forgetfulness,
Oh, yes.
and the knowledge, how you can come to me. So, the remembrance is if the living entity really desires that he wants to know the Supreme Lord. But first of all, Prabhupada said we must be conscious, then Krishna conscious. So if you are not sure about your own form of life, that's the first step. There are many stages, but it does say in the Bhagavad Gita that I give you the remembrance, the forgetfulness, and the remembrance, forgetfulness, and knowledge to how you can come to him. As you mentioned, that if you do pure devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then Krishna, if you're sincere, then he gives you knowledge how you can come to him. That is one way, to my understanding.
Thank you so much. So you're referring to chapter 15, text 15, I think. Savasya chaham hridi sanivishto, matasmati ganam ahohanam cha, vedaischa save aham eva vedyo, vedantakrit vedavid eva chaham. That from me, knowledge, remembrance, forgetfulness, come to the living entity. And by all the Vedas, Krishna is to be known. He is the compiler of the Vedanta and the true knower of the Vedas. That's what Krishna says. So, yeah, thank you for that. So, you were saying how we need to be conscious before becoming Krishna consciousness.
Yes,
Becoming Krishna conscious, sorry.
Yes.
And so if we really want to know Krishna, also we have to be sincere, and then he will give us that knowledge. Is that kind of what you're saying? Because it comes from him, actually, ultimately, which is what we learn from this other verse from chapter 15. Yeah, thank you so much.
Ultimately, we are part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so every living entity in this material world, they, if you notice, practically in all religion, they're always looking for God, except they don't know how to reach God unless they come in contact with some sadhus or some bona fide gurus or the scriptures, not mental speculations. So that is how you can find out, and this is how Krishna gives you the intelligence to come to him. Slowly but surely you will come to him if you are sincere.
Yeah, thank you. I liked how you pointed out about guru and sadhu. Prabhupada also says that in the purport. I'm trying to find exactly where it is. But he basically, from what I remember, is he's saying that we need to know that the goal is Krishna, and to be able to know that goal, we need to associate with the sadhus and with Guru. They need to keep reminding us of that goal because even if we're practicing, sometimes we actually kind of forget it. We get so caught up in, oh, I'm doing service, or you actually forget what you're doing it for. And so we have to have the devotees around us to keep reminding us actually what you're doing this for. Yeah, thank you. Okay, maybe we can move on to the purport now. So I'll read a little bit, maybe a few sentences. In this verse, the word Buddhi Yogam is very significant. Okay, so that's pretty self-explanatory. Prabhupada's just highlighting this Buddhi Yoga, which is a very important word from the Sanskrit. We may remember that in the second chapter, the Lord, instructing Arjuna, said that he had spoken to him of many things and that he would instruct him in the way of Buddhi Yoga. Okay, so again, Prabhupada's just giving us a little bit of background to this verse. So he's referring, cross-referencing to chapter 2, where the Lord is, speaking about Buddhi Yoga also. Okay, but now Buddhi Yoga is actually being explained. So now in chapter 10, Krishna's going to really explain what actually is Buddhi Yoga and how do you practice it. Okay, Buddhi Yoga itself is action in Krishna consciousness. That is the highest intelligence. So maybe if somebody would like to say what their understanding of what Prabhupada is saying here.
The way I understand it is just the highest intelligence. The intelligence is the ability to discriminate and see things as they are.
Yes.
So if we see the difference between spirit and matter, and actually know that the goal is Krishna, that is basically the highest intelligence.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're saying your understanding of intelligence actually is to know what is what. So what is spiritual energy and what is material energy?
And the ultimate goal of life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And how about this? Buddhi Yoga itself is action in Krishna consciousness. What do you understand by action in Krishna consciousness?
If we realize that all that we have comes from Krishna, and basically all that we do, we surrender to Krishna.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever we do, if we do it out of love for Krishna, then it is automatically action in Krishna consciousness. And that is the intelligence of the highest level.
Yeah, actually, this is very good. Thank you. So there's something that I've heard many times before. Intelligence actually means surrender as well. If you have real intelligence, then you will surrender because you know what to surrender to, and that is Krishna. And then you were saying how if you are surrendered and you really do have love for Krishna, then everything that you do will be for Krishna, will be fully in Krishna's service and fully for him. Yeah. So like 24 hours a day, just thinking of Krishna, or serving Krishna, actually. Even in our dreams, maybe. Hopefully one day, even dream. Yeah.
Actually, Buddhi Yoga and Bhakti Yoga is almost the same. Buddhi means it means intelligence. And to do Buddhi Yoga means you must be fixed in Krishna consciousness. You must have that intelligence. And that is the highest perfection in the service of Krishna, in devotional service. That's my understanding.
So saying that Buddhi Yoga is actually the topmost yoga.
Yes, that's right.
Thank you.
There's no difference from Buddhi Yoga. Well, first of all, Karma Yoga comes, then Jnana Yoga comes, then Buddhi Yoga comes, then Bhakti Yoga comes. But actually, Bhakti and Buddhi Yoga is the same thing, lining with Krishna consciousness fully to the highest stage of understanding Krishna and yourself as a spirit soul.
Thank you. So you're highlighting the yoga ladder, which Prabhupada also touches on later in the purport. He's maybe I can read that part actually. So it's the second paragraph. So when a person knows the goal of life but is addicted to the fruits of activities, he's acting in karma yoga. So that's like the first stage. That's the first step on the yoga ladder. So somebody who, they know that Krishna is the goal, or they know that, they want to engage in spiritual life, but they are too absorbed, or they're too attracted to something material, or something, what can I gain? Some kind of selfish gain, the results of my activities. So maybe they're practicing spiritual life, but they really enjoy, what do I get from this? And then Prabhupada explains Jnana Yoga. He says the person is enjoying the mental speculation. So it's kind of one step up from this gross enjoyment maybe, but there's some enjoyment there, because they're enjoying on a subtle level these kinds of philosophical things, and that's Jnana Yoga. But when somebody knows the goal and seeks Krishna completely in Krishna consciousness and devotional service, he is acting in Bhakti Yoga. So when somebody is sincerely trying to find Krishna through devotional service, I think that's the most important thing, because he's saying seeks Krishna. So it's not like he's actually at the perfectional stage yet if he's practicing Bhakti Yoga. It's like you're seeking it, so you're still trying to really find that. But the most important thing Prabhupada says here is that it's in devotional service, so it's through service. Then you're acting in Bhakti Yoga or Buddhi Yoga. So Prabhupada's actually using them interchangeably. So similar to how you said, Mataji, actually Buddhi Yoga is Bhakti Yoga, which is the complete yoga. Okay, and this complete yoga is the highest perfectional stage of life. Yes, thank you. Any more reflections you want? Yeah.
I was wondering if we can discuss a little bit more on karma yoga.
Okay.
Even in devotional service, devotees rendering service to the Lord, but maybe not with pure consciousness or pure reasons. They have many motives, and that is also comes under karma yoga, like Srila Prabhupada says. So there are stages. So that's the first thing before we can come to Buddhi yoga and Bhakti yoga. That is the highest.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're kind of questioning, or just having a little, just inquiring, I guess. Can we perform karma yoga even if we're devotees? Is that right? Because we're still doing it, with some selfish motive. Maybe we're still enjoying the fruits of our actions. Is that your kind of conclusion?
That's what my conclusion. And if we step one backwards as well, in the karmi world, karmi means those who are really in the karma, not even karma yoga, it's not karma yoga before that. So karma, just karma. And so people generally in the material world, those who are not really spiritualists, they do all sorts of fruitive activities in the mode of ignorance. Mm-hmm. So it's all, they do things, but they're expecting a reward out of that. So again, that is karma. Yeah. But then the next step is when we do karma yoga, coming in devotional service, if we haven't come from the first karmic habits that we have, so when you're in the karma yoga, it'll be kind of similar a little bit, That's my understanding.
Okay. Yeah. It's interesting. I have a slightly different understanding, actually, because of what Prabhupada says, how he's seeking Krishna completely in Krishna consciousness and devotional service. So we are doing service, even if we're not pure devotees, even if we're expecting some result, we are doing service. And even though we're not pure devotees, we're always doing it. That's why we have guru, isn't it? So it's like we're doing it through the guru. So we're doing it through the pure devotee on behalf of them. And then in that way, actually, the karma is actually taken, isn't it? So in that sense, just my understanding, it's not karma yoga. It's part of our consciousness being purified, actually, because it's not like as soon as we become a devotee, as soon as we take to devotional service, oh no, I don't care about any of the results of what I'm doing. It's a process. It's going to take a long, long time, because we're always we're conditioned to expect to get some enjoyment or some pleasure from anything, even spiritual life. We're expecting to get some. I mean, that's partly why we're here, probably, because we want to get something, isn't it, actually, out of it for ourselves.
Because we're always, every living entity is always in the enjoyment mood.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
That is we can't help it, because we're part and parcel of Krishna. And Krishna says, I'm the enjoyer and the controller.
Yes.
I'm the master, but you're the subordinate. So the idea is that we're supposed to serve him. But obviously we haven't come to that stage yet.
Yeah, thank you for highlighting that. We want to enjoy, because actually that is our nature. We are Satchitananda. So we are, by nature, we want to feel this bliss. And we're part and parcel of Krishna, who is the supreme enjoyer. So we can enjoy on a very much smaller scale. And the way that we enjoy is by pleasing him, and then when he's pleased, then we feel that pleasure. But if we don't please him, then whatever we do feel, that's not going to last. Actually, that enjoyment is temporary. But the only way to really have enjoyment is to please and make sure that Krishna is enjoying.
And also, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, offer everything unto me, and Bhaktaram Tapasya Yagya, like that.
Yeah.
Bhaktaram Yagya Tapasya.
Tapasam.
So whatever austerities or whatever you offer all unto me, sacrifice, austerities, penances, everything should be offered to the Supreme Lord.
Yeah.
In that way, when the Lord is pleased, when the devotees are pleased, Krishna is pleased, and then naturally you'll be pleased, like that.
Yeah, it trickles down, to us. Yeah, thank you. Okay, let's go back a bit to the purport. I just feel like we kind of veered off. It was a lovely discussion. I just want to come back to the verse today, though. So we spoke about this karma, jnana, buddhi, bhakti yoga. Let's just go back to where we were. So I'm back on the first paragraph now. Buddhi means intelligence, and yoga means mystic activities or mystic elevation. So that's just explaining what these terms mean. Okay, so when one tries to go back home, back to Godhead, and takes fully to Krishna consciousness in devotional service, his action is called Buddhi Yoga. So that's really interesting. Does anyone want to unpack that sentence? Say what they understood from it. Mataji, you want to say what you understood from this sentence?
What you're saying is, when one tries to go back home, back to Godhead, and takes fully to Krishna consciousness in devotional service.
Yeah, this sentence.
No, I'm sorry. Buddhi yoga means yoga and means mystic activities or mystic elevation.
No, the sentence you said before, when one tries to go back home, back to Godhead, and takes fully to Krishna consciousness in devotional service, his action is called Buddhi Yoga. So what? It's quite a long sentence. Yeah. Or you can just say a little bit, maybe just half of the sentence if it's too long. Or does anyone else want to say?
So the way I understand it is that if a person sincerely tries to go to Krishna, and he is like surrendered totally, then everything he does, every action he performs is basically with the aims that he tries to go back to Krishna, and that means he has already understood that the goal of life,
Mm-hmm.
and he's no longer on the karma level, karma yoga level.
Yeah.
So he surpasses basically, externally it looks like he's doing everything like karma or jnana, but his aim is actually Krishna, and that's why he's like Buddha yoga, like higher than karma and jnana.
Yeah, thank you so much. So you're saying, when we dedicate ourselves completely to the process, then that's Buddha yoga. You've passed the other stages on the yoga ladder. Yeah.
It's his dedication and his aim is
Yeah.
different. That what makes him like higher than karma yoga.
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting how Prabhupada says when one tries. So it's just like we're trying, even we might fall or falter. We're not necessarily at the perfect stage, but Prabhupada just says when you try to go back home, back to Godhead, so you've dedicated yourself to this process, even though maybe I'm not practicing this process perfectly. And we have so many verses to prove that even when you're not perfect, like 9:30, even if somebody commits an abominable action, if they're properly fixed in determination, they're still considered saintly. And this verse from Bhagavatam, that from first canto, chapter 5, that even if somebody fully dedicates themselves to practicing this path, it's very possible that they might fall at an immature stage. It's very possible. But he gains so much more by doing that, even if he falls, than if he's just carrying out his mundane duties. Somebody that's just carrying out mundane duties doesn't gain anything. But somebody who's dedicated themselves to bhakti yoga, even if they fall down, actually that's much more worthwhile. So I think that word, for me, that word is very important, tries. We all have little slips and trips along the way, probably. But as long as we're trying, then Krishna sees our endeavors. That's what he's saying in the verse. He helps us. If we're sincere, then he really helps us and he gives us the knowledge. Okay. Let's go on to the next sentence. So we've got about 15 minutes. 10 or 15 minutes, we can carry on till 8:30. In other words, Buddha yoga is the process by which one gets out of the entanglement of this material world. Wow, okay, so I'll try and say my understanding of this sentence. So Prabhupada is saying that Buddha yoga, this is actually how we reach the perfectional stage, by following this path. So we're entangled in the material world at the moment. We're too attached to the material energy. That's how we came here in the first place, is we wanted to enjoy something for ourselves. But Buddha yoga, this is the way that we can kind of take ourselves off, like taking a leech off your skin. It's like, imagine like a leech on someone's skin. It's kind of so sucked there. But Buddha yoga, it takes us off, and pulls us off like that. Does anyone have a different understanding or anything, any insights?
Does it not sort of mean like he's given you the intelligence to know that leaving the material world and the worldly goods behind is the way to the spiritual understanding that you need?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely, yeah. Yeah.
For me, it just means, once again, he's given you that intellect to sort of say, it is nice to come here for my own gain, But on the other hand as well, have I got enough intellect to leave behind everything else to come here just to pray? And it's when you get to that point in life that you can pray anywhere.
Of
and
course.
He hears it.
Yeah, of
It
course.
doesn't matter
yeah.
where you are, so long as it's with the heart and you've got the intellect to say that I'm on that spiritual level, on a par with what I need to do. That's when you're at that level of
Yeah.
yoga.
That's a very good point, actually. It doesn't even, you're saying it doesn't even matter if you're in the material world, it's where you are in your heart. And actually that is the highest level. The pure devotee, even if they're in hell, they don't care.
Yeah.
Because if they have that consciousness and they're with Krishna, then who cares?
It's like chanting the name in your mind or chanting it out loud. There's not a difference in it so long as it's done with the heart.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, this is the highest level. Actually, it doesn't matter where you are, that you're just with Krishna everywhere. Yeah. But still, the aim is to be, completely in the spiritual, the spiritual world. That is our aim. But of course, that can be here as well, if you have that level of consciousness. Thank you for raising that.
So ultimately what you're saying is, it says Krishna consciousness in devotional service, his action is called Buddhi Yoga. In other words, Buddhi Yoga is the process by which one gets out of the entanglement of this material world. So again, it's a process, yes, you can chant the Lord's name anyway because we're part and parcel of Krishna. The propensity is always there in every living entity, that they remember the Lord like this, like you were saying. You can chant anywhere or any place. But then, as I go back again, Krishna says, I'm the remembrance, the forgetfulness, and the knowledge. And those who want to forget him, they also forget him eternally as well. It's a possibility. And then he gives you remembrance when you are ready to come back to him. And as we're discussing about Buddhi Yoga, that is the highest stage. That is the professional stage, and that is in devotional service, that you come to Buddhi Yoga and Bhakti Yoga.
Thank you. So you're highlighting that it's our desire as well is really important.
Yes.
If we desire to forget Krishna, then
That's right.
he fulfills our desires, doesn't he? So if we don't want to have anything to do with him, then he lets us do that. But when we really have a desire that, okay, Krishna, I'm yours. I want to be with you, and I want to chant your names. I want to dedicate my whole life to you. Then he'll let us do that. He's not going to stop us.
Ultimately, when you surrender fully to Krishna, when you understand, there's sadhana bhakti, then there's many, stages, Brahma Buddha also stage. So there's so many processes, but unless and until you've come to that the whole process is a purificatory process. And then once that happens through devotional service, there is no other way. You have to purify yourself because we're contaminated in this material world. Although the spirit soul is pure, but like Srila Prabhupada says, this material world is a prison house, and we're all prisoners in it. So, it's easy for the easy, complicated for the complicated.
Yes.
But we have to look at the scriptures. We have to look at for a bona fide spiritual master, as we're going to be coming to the next sentence.
Okay, shall I go on to the next sentence then? Thank you for making those points about we're a prisoner in the prison house. Of course, we're spirit souls, but we're encaged in this material energy. That's kind of why we want to get out. It causes so much suffering. Okay. So the ultimate goal of progress is Krishna. Okay, I'll read 2 sentences because that's quite short. People do not know this. Therefore, the association of devotees and a bona fide spiritual master are important. Okay? Do you want to say something? Would you like me to say something?
Obviously, in this age of Kali Yuga, like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he came 500 years ago, he's Krishna himself, but then he exhibited how a devotee should be. And in this day, we have to, the chanting of the Hare Krishna is the main mantra. And you must chant, you must associate with good devotees, bona fide devotees.
Yeah.
And then you have to find a bona fide spiritual masters are very important. All this is a package towards going back to Godhead.
Yeah. So it's part of the process, you know, these two things, association of devotees and surrendering to a spiritual master, are so important because they remind us of the goal and keeps us in check. I was reading this purport earlier and I was thinking, you know, that about that and how it's not like you just say to someone, okay, the goal is Krishna and you need to do this, you need to chant the holy names and follow the 4 regulative principles and read these books, and then you just let them go off and then they think, okay, sure, fine, and they just do it by themselves. It's like we need other people to keep reminding us like how to do it and what the consciousness is and what our intentions are. And you know, it's not like we can just do it on our own. We constantly need to be reminded exactly what the goal is. Otherwise we just get distracted, or we forget actually, because we're so conditioned to think that something else is going to bring me happiness, like, I don't know, other things that might bring it. We think maybe money is going to make us happy, or any other kind of material, you know, enjoyment or goal. We think the material goals are actually going to make us happy, but we constantly have to be reminded by the devotees and by the guru that no, actually, this is what you really want, even if it doesn't feel like it sometimes.
So what you're saying is that the association of the devotees is very, very important.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Okay, we've got a couple of minutes. Does anyone have any like final reflections actually now, or maybe like anything to take away, anything you want to put in place? How can we apply this to ourselves maybe? So we've had a little discussion about what this purport and this translation means. Maybe is there something that we feel like, okay, so how can I make changes in my own life, or how can I, you know, how can I apply this? How does this help me? Prabhu, you want to say?
So, what I understood from this verse that we must do our part, and that is realize that we should serve Krishna with love and devotion, and that if we do that, He will give us understanding. So we should realize our part, and He always anxious to give us understanding, because He always waiting every soul in the spirit world. He doesn't want anybody to suffer in the material world.
Okay. So you're saying how Krishna's very kind, and as long as we try, then He actually wants us as well. So, you know, the most important thing is that we do our part, and then Krishna will help us. There's that phrase, just do your best and Krishna will do the rest. It came to mind when you were speaking.
Because He, as super soul, as Paramatma within the heart, is always there. He doesn't leave a single soul. He goes wherever the soul goes, as Paramatma. He follows every single soul.
Yeah, thank you. Anyone else? Any final? You don't have to if there's nothing. It's fine. Okay, so we'll end there. It's nearly 8:30. Thank you so much for your time and for attending. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Thank you for your class.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for your participation.